Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Ms. Saina Amir, lecturer Pakistan Studies from XII Inter College, Marine Kent. This will be our first lecture of Pakistan Studies. So, first of all, I'm going to introduce the book of Pakistan Studies. This is your book. And dear student, in first year, you studied Islamiyat. And in second year, you study Pakistan Studies instead of Islamiyat. There are 10 chapters in your book, and today we are going to start chapter number 1, Genesis of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Chapter number 1, Genesis of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. The meaning of Genesis is, introduction, beginning, start. So in this chapter, we will discuss about the important political event from 1857 to the creation of Pakistan. That means we will discuss about the Pakistan movement in detail in this chapter. And the topic is Pakistan ideology and the components of Pakistan ideology. Dear students, as you know, Pakistan came into being on 14th of August 1947, and during the 20th century, many nations got freedom. Among them, most of the countries got freedom on the different basis, like on a racial basis, on a linguistic basis, and territorial basis. But Pakistan is the country which came into being on the basis of a strong ideology. So here we need to know what is ideology. Ideology, basically, the word ideology Greek in origin, and the word ideology is composed of two Greek words. Ideo and logos. It literally means science of ideas. So we can say ideology means science or study of ideas. In other words, we can say the set of ideas or norms. For example, the collection of beliefs, values, customs, aims, tradition, and rituals, which is common to all the members of society, and it express in the lives of all member of that particular society, right? So this is the concept of ideology. We can say the set of ideas or norms, and basically this is a Greek word in origin. Content of ideology. Important and fundamental content of ideology is, for example, number one, common religion, number two, common culture, next is common cause, and the last is dedication. Common religion. Dear students, religion, we can say, is a binding force for any nation in entire world. Nations in the world are distinct on the basis of their religion, right? And what about common culture? Generally, the people sharing a common culture, and they follow the similar way of life. And normally they do not compromise on customs and tradition, and they are firm belief on their culture and tradition. And next is common cause. Common cause is the important content of ideology. Our common cause, we can say, unites the people. For example, we have very good example, achieving of Pakistan. Achieving of Pakistan was a common cause under the influence of an ideology. We had an ideology, Pakistan ideology, so that reason we were able to get a separate homeland, right? Next is dedication. Muslims of South Asia were highly dedicated to the common cause of seeking or achieving freedom and establishing a separate Muslim state for themselves, where they could spend their life according to the teaching of Islam. So these are the content of ideology. Here we need to know the significance and the importance of ideology. Ideology reflects the idea of people, and it reflects the in what sense they reflect the idea of the people. It describes actually their way of living and thinking and social interaction. So, as I told you that the collection of beliefs, values, custom, and aims, and these are the components and the the combination of ideology, the content of ideology, or we can say the sum total of ideology. So, it reflects the ideas of the people and describe their way of living, thinking, and social interaction with each other. Unity, definitely, ideology helps people unite on one platform. It creates the unity among the nation. Next is motivating force for deeds and action. It is motivating a force of deed and action, and people may willingly sacrifice anything for you can say the specific cause and under the influence of any ideology, right? And next is it helps preserve the freedom, as well as ideology helps preserve the freedom and preserve the culture and tradition as well. So here is a definition of ideology, comprehensive definition of ideology, and I think your concept about ideology has been clear now. Ideology is set of ideas on which the collective ideas of community, nation, or millet are based. It also includes the sum total of principles set forth for the achievement of these common ideologies. Ideology means such an we can say aims according to which human beings plan about their future, right? So this is the definition of ideology. Yes, Pakistan ideology, sorry, Islamic ideology, an ideology which in Latin the Islamic teaching is known as Islamic ideology, simple. And Islamic ideology has been established on the basis of golden principles of Islam. And you know, Islam is the complete code of life. Here are two sources of Islamic ideology. One is Holy Quran and second is Sunnah. Holy Quran is a constant and the permanent basis of Islam. And for us, for Muslim, it is the book of guidance, which revealed of our last Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it provides detailed guidance to the Muslim how to spend your life. It describes the collective life. It describes the individual life as well. And next is Sunnah. Second important source of Islamic ideology is Sunnah. What is Sunnah? The literal meaning of Sunnah is the way to follow, and the way, what way, which the Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us in the actual way of life. And we can say the detailed explanation of the teaching of the Quran and Sunnah became the teaching of the Quran is found in Sunnah, right? In simple word, Quran is a theory and Sunnah is practical. Is the deed of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, this is Pakistan ideology. In simple word, Islamic ideology is Pakistan ideology, because the basis of ideology of Pakistan is Islam, and Pakistan is an ideological state, and it is based on the specific philosophy. Here it is mentioned that Pakistan is an ideological state. How? Because it is based on a specific philosophy of life, and it bases on the religion of Islam, and the ideology of Pakistan means ideology of Islam. The ideology of Pakistan means the ideology of Islam, right? Quran and Sunnah, teaching of Sunnah and the deeds of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Aims of the ideology of Pakistan was to form an Islamic state where for the Muslims of subcontinent who were living in joint India in British India before partition. Why? Because why they want a separate homeland for themselves? Because there they could spend their life according the principles, fundamental principles, and teaching of Islam, right? And in simple, the Pakistan ideology refers to that set of beliefs and objectives which form the basis of the Muslim freedom struggle in Southeast Asia. Pakistan ideology and refers to the set of beliefs. Here, set of beliefs, what? Principles of Islam. And what were the objectives? Separate Muslim state. It was the objective to get a separate homeland for the Muslims of subcontinent. And what was the set of beliefs? Teaching of Islam, principle of Islam. This is in simple way to get a separate homeland for themselves, where they spend their life according to the basic tenets of Islam, and living as free citizen of an independent democratic state. Simple. So this is Pakistan ideology, which basis on Islam, and simple. In other way, we can say two nation theory. Pakistan ideology is based on two nation theory. In next slides, I am going to explain the concept of two nation theory in detail. Yes, here is the complete and comprehensive definition of Pakistan ideology. Ideology of Pakistan is ideology of Islam, on the base of which Muslims of subcontinent struggle for a separate homeland. And another definition of Pakistan ideology is ideology of Pakistan is to mold our individuals and collective lives according to the teaching of Islam, and to safeguard ourselves against all those ideologies that are against the Islam, against the teaching of Islam. Yes. So before to understand the concept of two nation theory, you need to know about the nation. What is nation? A large body of people united by the common history, culture, or language, inhabiting a particular state of territory. A large that means a large body of people living in a particular state who shares common history, culture, and language, specific background who shares that. This, in simple word, this is called the nation. And what is nationhood? The state of quality of having status as a separate and independent state. That feeling, that state that we are a separate and independent nation, this is nationhood. What is nation? A group of people who live in the particular territory and who shares the common history, culture, or language, and the state and the feeling of oneness, and that having the status as a separate and independent nation. In simple word, this is nationhood, right? And what is the Islamic concept of nationhood? The Muslim believe that by virtue of their faith, they have an identity, separate and distinct from other nations of the world. That means they are the separate from the entire nations of the world, just because of their faith, as they are Muslim, and their feelings of oneness among themselves combined with the consciousness of being separate from others. So they should be given a right to form an independent democratic state of their own, and living under this state. They should avail the opportunity to order their individuals and collective life in accordance with their faith and belief. So this is the Islamic concept of nationhood, that by virtue of their faith, they have an identity. I'm talking about the Muslim, and this, in the feeling of oneness among themselves, combined with the consciousness of being separate from others. For this purpose, they are separate from the other nation, from the entire nation of the world. They are separate. So this is the Islamic concept of nationhood. Yes, two nation theory. In the perspective of subcontinent, two nation theory means that two major nations, the Muslims and the Hindus, they were settled in subcontinent, right? And the two nations were they were totally different from each other, from the all aspects of life, from religion, ideas, culture, way of living, and we can say in the collective thinking. So their basic principles and way of living are so different from each other. Um, and the Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, the first person who used the word nation for the Muslims of subcontinent. And Sir Syed Ahmad Khan declared the Muslims a separate nation, right? And in simple way, we can say that two nation theory in its simplest way means that cultural, political, religious, economic, and social dissimilarities between the two major communities. Two major communities? Which major communities? Hindus and Muslims of the subcontinent, and who use the word nations for the Muslims of subcontinent before partition. First time, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was the first person who used word nation for the Muslim of subcontinent. Yes, the components of Pakistan ideology. First of all, Islam. um, the basis of Pakistan ideology is Islam, and the aim of ideology of Pakistan was to spread the Islamic principle, right? So the Muslim of South Asia could get chance to convert or mold their lives according to the principle of Islam. And Qaid-e-Azam said that the demand of Pakistan was not merely a question of acquiring a piece of land. Pakistan was meant to be a laboratory for proving the validity and truth of Islamic principle. He said on 13 January 1948 at Islamia College, Peshawar. And in other words, we can say in an Islamic society, in an Islamic state, the supreme power and authority belongs from the Almighty Allah alone. And the system run according to the teaching of Islam. And no any person, no any member of parliament, he cannot amend, and he cannot pass any constitution or any law which is against to the teaching of Islam, right? So this is the Islam, which is the important part of the component of Pakistan ideology. And in other words, we can say the only the Quranic principles control our behavior in the society and in politics, in state perspective, right? Yes. Next is democracy. What is democracy, students? Democracy, basically a type of government in which the representatives for the government are selected by the voters of common people. In simple way, we can say government of people, by the people, and for the people, right? Government of people, by the people, for the people. A government is established uh, by the public, and they can select a person among them, and he will rule on them. So this is the concept of democracy: government of people, by the people, and for the people. Simple word say. uh, System of an Islamic state is based on democratic principle, and democracy is promoted in an Islamic state, and the right of the state are protected, you know, and every citizen enjoy the equal status, the law, equality, and Islamic democratic state provides security to the people, to the public, to the minority as well, right? So I think the democracy, the concept of democracy has been clear to you. And the next is in components of Pakistan ideology. This is social justice and equality. What is justice? The literal meaning of justice is to keep the right things at their right place, right? And yes, this is the justice which makes any society peaceful and prosperous. And the society in which justice is supreme will always have unity, prosperity, love, peace, and sincerity. And if we talk about the Islamic democratic state, the fundamental right of the individuals are protected in the judicial system of Islam. So the social justice, let me they I have told you the meaning of the justice. What is the meaning of justice is to keep the right thing at their right place, and in the society in which justice is supreme, will always have unity, peace, and prosperity. And Qaeda-Azam explained the fundamental principle of an Islamic state on the following word, and its Islam has taught equality of man, justice, and fair play to everybody. We are the inheritors of those glorious traditions, and we are fully alive to responsibilities and obligations as framers of the future Constitution of Pakistan, February 1948. Yes, equality. What is equality? Islam is the torchbearer of equality among the human being, right? So Islam rejects all kind of discrimination, differences on the basis of, we can say, race, language, caste, color, culture, and wealth or poverty, right? And the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam established a very good system, government system that removed, that all the discrimination between the rich and the poor. And all in Islamic democratic state, if we talk about the components of Pakistan ideology in perspective of social justice and equality, all human beings are equal before law. Rich and poor individuals are equally accountable before law, and Islam provides legal justice, which means that all individuals enjoy protection under law, and they should have equal opportunity for social protection. And the last is fundamental human right. What is human right? Human rights are the basic right and freedom that belong to every person in the world. And in an Islamic society, there is a full protection of the fundamental rights for every individual. And Qaeda-Azam was a great champion of human rights, addressing the first session of the first Constituent Assembly of Pakistan. You are free. You are free to go to your temples. You are free to go to a mosque or to any place of worship in the state of Pakistan. You may belong to any religion or caste or creed. That has nothing to do with the business of state. We are starting with the fundamental principle that we are all citizens and equal citizens of one state. And this is the statement given by Qaid-e-Azam on the session of the First Constituent Assembly held on 11th August 1947. So, human rights are the basic rights and freedom that belong to every person in the world, in the country, in the society as well as. So here a topic is complete, and today we will start our new topic, and this is Pakistan, the outcome of the sustained Muslim efforts, in which we will discuss the important political events from 1857 to the creation of Pakistan. Thank you, students. Stay happy, stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.